Fear is the profit killer. If you are an entrepreneur, a coach, consultant, agency owner, healer, or expert, we need to have this conversation because it is making you not just keep your business stuck, it's making you leave money on the table, it's affecting your profits, it's affecting your growth, everything. I've had moments in my life when I was absolutely terrified to do things, and I'm going to share a story of what actually happened and how that moment completely changed my life. And that idea, the person I became after that moment helped me do things in my business that I was also afraid to do, but I did them anyway. So the example that I can give you from my life was back when I was teaching martial arts. This guy who was teaching the same martial arts style, funny enough, we were teaching it in the same buildings. I was teaching Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and he was teaching in the other days, basically the alternative days of the week. And he just came to visit to see, what we were doing and do a bit of an exchange. And I felt flustered in that moment. The guy, he came to my class and we started playing and he dominated. He kind of embarrassed me in front of my students. You know that performance anxiety when people are watching and all of a sudden your performance just goes down, or maybe I just wasn't good enough at that time and he kind of kicked my ass right in front of my students. And that really, really sucked. I needed to do something about it. So I spent 2 weeks practicing with my students to kind of counter the guy because I knew what his approach was. And then I decided to go to his class. I mean, in that moment, me showing up to his class, anything could have happened. We could have had like a very, very savage fight. So I was scared. I was scared because I knew what I could do, or I knew that I would maybe hold back if things got really, really chaotic, but I wasn't sure what he was going to do. And he was actually taller, like one head taller than me. So on the way there, this thing just broke inside of me. I said, you know what? I might end up in the hospital tonight. Or he might end up in the hospital tonight. I don't know. I was probably thinking that I would end up in the hospital because of the size difference, right? But I don't care. Whatever happens, happens. When I had that thought, like I said, something broke inside of me and I felt free. The sense of ease just came over me. And I wasn't that scared anymore. Of course, there was a bit of fear, but not the initial one, right? And I showed up to the location. I entered the school like this, bam. I didn't want to show that I was, that I still had that bit of fear. So I said, hey, I just came back and I wanted to have an exchange as well. Is that cool? And the guy says, yes. And he had his students. So we started playing around, and this time I was ready for him. I dominated. When I left the school, I was so happy. And granted, I'm not recommending you do this because, of course, that came from a lot of ego and having a lot to prove. Whenever you're doing that, the road ahead is very difficult. But I was so happy, not because I dominated the guy, but because I faced this huge fear. Growing up, I was terrified of fighting on the street. I was terrified of conflict. My legs would just become mellow all of a sudden, and my heart would just beat uncontrollably whenever there was a kid that wanted to fight me or a kid that pushed me or something like that. I just panicked. I would just panic. And that was something that was tremendously important for me to overcome. And I felt like I finally had it. This moment in my life helped me tremendously, at least with my coaching business. I was terrified to tell people who are a lot more successful than me, that I can help them with their mindset and with their business. And I felt stuck. But guess what? I started telling one person who was more successful than me that I could help. They said no. Then I told that to another person, and so on and so forth, until a certain point where I actually coached a multimillionaire, somebody who's massively more successful than me. And we created some powerful shifts in his business, some more profit streams that he would have never created, and he would have never thought of. He started thinking more and more like a business owner, rather than feeling scared that if he tries different things, he would make mistakes. You can actually check out this video right here. We actually have our first ever conversation together recorded. You can check that out. So what I'm saying is, I am 100% certain that you have something in your business right now that you want to do, that you know you should do, that you know you could do, but you're allowing fear to dictate your life and business. You're allowing these ideas that you've gained when you were a kid about yourself, about the world, to still tell you how to react in the world, when you know that you're actually a lot more capable, a lot more powerful, a lot more creative than you allow yourself to be. That was the exact same situation with my client. He believed that if he tried new things, he was afraid he was going to make mistakes. Same thing, fear. And it was keeping him stuck. And you might think that people at that level, like at multi-millionaire level, they don't have any fears, right? They're perfect. They know everything. It's not true. We're all human. We all deal with different types of fears depending on the level we're at in business. And it's okay. It's okay to feel it. But what's not okay is to allow allow that feeling to freeze you, to keep you there. You're better than that. You are so much better than that. So much more capable and powerful than you think. And the only reason why I say that is because I know how I used to see myself, and I know what was actually really inside of me, despite that fear. And it's the same for you. It's the same for you. You're not giving yourself enough credit for who you are. And I'm here to tell you that enough is enough. It's time for a change. It's time to act like a warrior, because that is what, to me, that is what the warrior mindset is. It's not necessarily the ego of I'm the best, I have to prove things to other people. That's not what it means to me. To me, the warrior mindset is going against odds that are perceived to be much bigger than you, like the guy who is taller than me, and saying, you know what, I'm just gonna do my best. And yes, your best is more than enough for your next goals, for growing your business to the level you want it to. But it's just a sequence of overcoming the next fear, the next fear, the next fear, and so on and so forth. I believe in you. And it's time you believe in you too. And I hope this video, this conversation inspires you to do that. Now, in the meantime, check out this conversation that I had with my client that I told you about, and let me know your thoughts about the conversation in the comments. And I'll see you soon.